Well, that's right. Don't forget to tune in to America's game show, Squeal of Fortune. I'm your host, Matt Pajak, and did you know that back in the 1960s I killed a guy? Strangled him in a back alley behind a 7-Eleven. He kind of looked like my stepfather, who once touched my pee-pee without asking first. Someone who I gladly let touch it without asking first is my beautiful co-host, Vanna Height. We totally did it once when we drunk too many sambucas on a trip to Disney World in 1989. This week, we're giving away trips to Eastern Europe, where you can sample the delights of stroking the homeless, smoking pot with a racist teenager from Russia with a Make America Great Again cap who's also not too fond of the gays, narrowly avoiding death in the back of a gypsy cab driven by a guy who of course speaks English but refuses to and doesn't give a shit about you or your mother, and getting to smell like pickled gherkins while listening to Ukrainian country and western music while a hooker thumbs through your wallet for any cash so she can buy the gun she needs to run for office. But before all that, the After Movie Diner.
You're listening to the sweet sounds of the After Movie Diner with your host, Jon Cross.
Created in the 1960s by wild-haired, crazy-eyed, strung-out scientists in a sordid and squalid sex dungeon to be used as an ejaculate receptacle for depraved accountants and their aunts, my first guest finally escaped and was on the run for many months disguised as several emus in a sack across the little Eastern Europe district of Coxsocket, Maine. From there he moved west into massive Two-Shits, where he became, for an indeterminate amount of time, chief fluffer for the Boston Mauve Sock Garters, a feed-in team to the feed-in team adjacent to the feed-in team for the Boston Red Sox, and occasionally dabbled as special envoy to Panama as a tax dodge and a ruse to procure more coconut oil for his hefty nuts. After a stint as vice principal of juggling testicles at the University of Don't Mind If I Do, Barbara, Idaho, he would go on to form a company for the manufacture of novelty wind-up mice, plastic dick-shaped jello molds, and a bespoke anal plugette in the shape of Bob Costas for Andre Agassi, who said it considerably improved his game, but really hampered him if he accidentally left it in while playing tennis. He owns many inflatable effigies of B. Arthur, a vault filled with unreleased Dutch-Romanian porn, all set in the entirely compelling world of shoe maintenance, and as a trained insect samurai can kill a moth at 4 paces with one quick whip of his tongue. Ladies and germs, it's Mosif Porne.
Everything you just said is 100% accurate.
Absolutely correct.
Absolutely accurate.
I researched it all, deep in the bowels of Mo himself.
Your research team it's a crack squad, I tell you.
Scarily accurate. And I tell you, my squad has been near Mo's crack on more than one occasion. So now, on his right, barely able to contain his vast genitalia in that ill-fitting 3-piece leather nightgown he's wearing, it's the former winner of the Little Piddle on the Naze's annual How Many Chocolate Eclairs Can You Fillet before the Duke of Buckinghamshire demands he joins in and the whole thing gets irredeemably messy competition, and his winning number was 8. He also, in his long and varied career, has been a hubcap polisher for Carlos the Jackal, the librarian at a bookshop that only sold pamphlets detailing the terms for the desegregation of brothels, curator at a museum of broken pottery dildos, gardener at a palace once often frequented by Stephen Fry in drag as his own sister Agatha Fry, who would occasionally exclaim in a loud and unpleasantly screechy voice, "I stuck it up the chimney, Colin!" but who stopped coming around after an incident with a jar of pickled eggs and Heather Graham's knockers. He was a slapper of goats for King Fernando of Paraguay, a travelling penile impersonator of Carly Simon songs, and 2/3 of the vaudeville act What's All This Then? He is a master in the Eastern art of finger chalking, which is sort of like a poor man's version of finger painting, only with a lot more snooker players and hookers. He has intimate knowledge of the entire catalogue of Gary Daniels' lesser-known Taiwanese back-related porno trading cards, and using the powerful and mysterious art of the ninja. Once assassinated an unsuspecting cardboard cutout of the Home Secretary of Belgium in a ceremonial knob garden of Nice. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Doctor of Action himself, Dr. Paul Crowson.
Hello, you've been reading up on my Wikipedia page.
I have, indeed. I tell you what, we delve deep here, and I'm not just talking about our sexual proclivity for buttholes. How are we doing?
Oh, well, I'm good. How are you, gentlemen?
Well,
I'm fantastic.
I'm far.
I said gentlemen. I didn't mean you.
Oh,
man.
Sorry.
And I'm far from gentle, men.
Jesus.
There we go. That's a car horn in the background, almost like a comedy honker horn or something, but in fact just a twat in a car who thinks that somehow by making that noise, all other traffic will disappear, which is, of course, a horny old lie, and he should just go fuck himself slowly with a chainsaw. As you can tell, I'm in a really good mood this evening as we are embarking this month on NinjaVember. NinjaVember. And that's something that the soundtrack to NinjaVember would sound like if I'd bothered to do it. What do you all think about that?
I think it's fantastic.
It's a surefire hit.
Yeah.
Elvis Presley was originally going to release it before he died. I do believe.
Yeah.
I'm imagining all the bells and whistles in my head now.
Indeed, featuring Sho Kosugi on Jew's Harp. But this, talking about Kosugi, on this very show, we will be discussing 2 ninja movies featuring, the second one features his son, Kane Kosugi, but these are the films Ninja from 2009 and Ninja Shadow of a Tear from 2013. And I believe I'll defer to the Doctor of Action of this, but that is the correct pronunciation of those film titles, is it not, Doc?
Well, when I met Scott Adkins, I said, I loved you in Ninja Shadow of a Tear, and he went, what the fuck are you talking about? I went, Ninja Shadow of a Tear, and he went, oh yeah.
That's the best one, yeah. And when I interviewed Scott Adkins earlier in the year, he couldn't be fucked. No, actually, we had a fantastic interview with Scott Adkins that you can find on the website. If you haven't already.
Interview.
It is.
It's better than when I met him, because I was just like, oh, I love you.
I really love your movies. We have now, in fact, we've interviewed not only the star of these 2 ninja movies, but Scott Adkins, but also the director, Isaac Florentine, who I believe likes to be called Isaac Florentine.
Or Tangerine.
Or Isaac Tangerine. Yes.
So don't call him Susan.
No,
okay.
Don't call him Susan. But definitely do go to aftermoviedino.com and look up Isaac Florentine, Scott Adkins in the interview section of the website. Not that you'll do that, because every week I ask people to do stuff and they just don't fucking bother. Because everyone has their own.
Stopped.
Yeah, everyone has their own lives, and nobody really cares about this show.
Me and Doug just a long time ago just stopped asking people to do things. We're just like, nobody's going to do this.
Yeah, and then Doug ends up speaking to Eric Roberts on stage.
Right?
The
What
bastard.
The bastard.
What a fucking asshole. Who the fuck wants to hear Doug Tilley interview Eric Roberts when you could be listening to us 3 discuss the little-known Ninja and its sequel, Ninja 2.
Shadow of a Tear.
You know, Eric Roberts might listen.
Eric Roberts, who was apparently in the running.
Actually, if we say his name 3 more times, he's contractually obligated to listen.
Obligated to show up and do 30 seconds in our podcast. I swear
Well,
that
I
the
offered
only
him a
reason...
Jaffa cake, and he said he might come on for a minute.
Yeah, right, exactly. And I offered him a whole box of Jaffa cakes, and he said, I'm moving in. And you won't be able to get rid of me. But no, I think that him doing time on stage with Doug Tilley is just, it's like he has to, his IMDb page is so filled now with movie appearances that he's run out of movies to appear in. So now he's just appearing on podcasts.
He's just jumping podcast to podcast.
He's just showing up. So by the year 2028, he will have been on every single podcast, even if he has nothing to do with it, which of course he will have something to do with it because Eric Roberts has been in so many movies you could probably tangentially tie him to literally the subject of any podcast ever. Probably.
But no, it's definite.
Definitely.
You know that 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon game?
Yeah, that's bullshit. It's
like,
the 1 degree
honestly,
of Eric Roberts.
Yeah, it's 1 degree of Eric Roberts. That's really all it is.
And considering
Think Eric Roberts is the meaning of life?
yes, I do. And considering that I have hugged Doug Tilley in Canada, and now so is Eric Roberts, essentially, I'm just 1 degree from Eric Roberts.
And I've met you. That means I'm 2.
2 degrees from Eric Roberts.
See?
And Mo, you've not ever met Doug in person, have you?
Or Doc, no.
No.
No?
So you're just a loser, really.
That's the story of my life.
But anyway, so let's go quickly through Ninja from 2009 and Ninja Shadow of a Tear from 2013, starring the aforementioned Scott Adkins, Isaac. I'm sure I've mentioned this a million times. The Ninja storyline is a Westerner named Casey studying ninjutsu in Japan, also known as the secret art of the ninja, is asked by the sensei to return to New York to protect the legendary Yoroi Bitsu, an armored chest that contains the weapons of the last Koga ninja. I don't know why, but that's it. I think people are going to listen to this and be like, is he doing an offensive Asian accent? I'm not. I'm just...
It's like, nah, he's just nuts.
I'm just going high and weird on the word ninja. But yes, he has to, Casey, played by Scott Adkins, has to fuck off to New York, really, probably Bulgaria or Taiwan or wherever they filmed this, doubling for New York. But he has to go to New York with his girlfriend, whose name is something. What's his girlfriend's name? It's his wife.
Patricia.
No, Namiko. Played by Mika Hiji.
It's Japanese for Patricia.
No,
it's
right.
true. It's true.
No.
I'm a master of languages, and that's accurate.
Yeah. Mika Hiji, who plays Namiko Takeda, who is the daughter of the sensei of the entire dojo. And essentially, he says to an unruly student, played by Tsuyoshi Ihara, I believe his name is, playing the character Masazuka. He says, get out, you are too unruly and crazy. And he's a bit like, how dare you let this white boy into my dojo to fuck my shit up? And the white boy's like, hey man, I was just practicing. And then they're like, you get out of here, Masazuka. And he fucks off and becomes his own ninja assassin and comes back to claim the dojo from Sensei Takeda, but Sensei tells him to go fuck himself again. He comes back, kills the Sensei. Once the box, the Bitsu, Yuri Bitsu, it's already been sent to New York, so he follows Adkins to New York. Meanwhile, there's a shadowy cabal of hooded capitalists who are also trying to get something. Anyway, guys, when did you first come across the ninja films?
Well, let's see. What time is it right now? I'd say about an hour and a half ago.
Oh, you've never seen this one?
I still have never seen this one that we're talking about.
Great,
because I only watched part 2.
I thought you'd seen them before a long time ago.
Never, ever.
Excellent. But you're aware of ninjas. And...
So you picked a great guest for this show.
Yeah. Well, Doc
I'm
and
aware of what a ninja is.
Right. Okay. Excellent.
You shouldn't do because it's a secret.
Yeah. Right.
That's what's ridiculous about filming ninjas. By rights, it should just be a screen with nothing on it because you can never see them.
Exactly. And if you can see the ninja, then they're not really ninja. They're just people in robes.
Yeah, just bloody actors.
So when did you come across, like, you've been a Scott Adkins fan for a while, Doc, but when did you come across Ninja?
It didn't get released in England straight away, so I think it was about 2011, 2012.
And you were a Scott Adkins fan already, right? You were well aware of his oeuvre?
Kind of. I think he'd been in Undisputed 2 by this time, I think.
Yeah.
But this was like one of his first big films that he was, headlining himself.
Right. Well, he had been he had played the role of Joel in EastEnders for a season.
That's where I knew him from originally.
Yeah,
because he was bloody marvelous.
He was. He was also. He was also in the well, I would say now epically world famous TV series Mile High as the character Ed Russell.
Yeah, and he was also in Dangerfield.
And a 2-episode stint on Hollyoaks. So come on. You know, he had been in much bigger things before you saw him in the likes of stuff like X-Men Oranges. X-Men Oranges? X-Men's Oranges, Wolverine, Tangerine. X-Men's Oranges, Tangerine. But yeah, no, he was in Undisputed 2 back in 2006.
Yeah, as Yuri Boyka.
Yuri Boyka!
Yeah, which is kind of weird because he sort of took the limelight off Michael J. White in that. And everybody was sort of like, oh yeah, we really like the bad guy.
Yeah, well, that's what happens, white guys, right? White guys. We just come in, we fuck everything up for the black guy.
Put on a Russian accent. It's all for the taking.
Right. Robert is your father's brother. Robert Gay is your father's brother, one might say.
He's a good friend.
But it's pretty crazy, actually, that he does Undisputed 2, Ninja, Undisputed 3, Assassination Games, and El Gringo, and then he's in Expendables 2. Like, already by that point, he's already known enough to play, like, the second. And I'm sure, like, Van Damme has something to do with that, because obviously he had worked with Van Damme on a few things, right? Assassination Games and The Shepherd.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So Van Damme may have
Assassination
said,
Games, it's not a bad film, actually.
Yeah, but he probably brought in, he said, I know somebody that would be perfect for my side partner. I will bring in the Scott Adkins. And Stallone
have you
was
seen Wolverine? And they went, what?
have you seen X-Men Oranges Tangerine? It's one of the best performances ever. Listen, look at my puppy. I will just bring him in. And Stallone said, no, whatever.
It's good. It's good. Bring your kid to work day.
Bring your kid to work. But yeah, so Ninja, it's probably his, like you say, after Undisputed 2, it's like his first big starring role, really.
Yeah, headlining.
And he does.
On the main stage.
He does headline.
He does headline, and he lines many heads.
I do lines too.
With fucking kicks.
Yeah, he does. It's a pretty. I mean, it's the only thing that's a bit ridiculous. Like the only thing that's sort of, if you were watching this with people who kind of hadn't seen a lot of 80s and 90s action stuff, and you just wanted to like sit down and watch Ninja with a new group of people, the only thing that would make them like laugh at this movie would be the standing around in no. It would be the like the bad guys all being in like weird cult robes. They all hang out in a warehouse in sort of elaborately decorated robes for no good reason. I mean, we understand that this oil tycoon is trying to take over.
Hold on. What do you mean for no good reason? Have you ever stood around in a warehouse in an elaborate robe? There's reason. That shit is comfortable.
No. There are reasons to be in a robe.
There are
Mo.
reasons.
I agree, but there's not necessarily reasons to kind of have, like, because it's the cross between.
Agree to disagree. Agree to disagree.
It's like a business sales conference that one might hold in a Holiday Inn, mixed with the like underground cult that looks after Michael Myers in Halloween 6. Like, if you put those two together, that's what this is. It's not like the most.
Have you ever had a job in corporate America? Because that sounds accurate.
That sounds exactly what it's like. So he's all like, hello, we're here to show you statistics and oh, fuck. Hello, we're here to show you statistics and analytics of all the people we've had maimed so we can take over their businesses and own oil. That's basically it. And then he fights a whole bunch of people. But the fights themselves are pretty spot on, right, Doc?
Oh, yeah. The fights are really good. I've just looked. Apparently, it had a budget of $10 million.
The first one?
Yeah, which is fucking crazy.
Well,
But,
they do have to. They had to like rent that dojo for the afternoon so they could do all the training sequences.
Definitely. But it's kind of one of those films that's.
Plus, you have to keep Isaac Florentine in up to his eyeballs in
tangerines,
cocaine, and tangerines.
Yeah, it's kind of it's like just better than direct to video. It's just a step up from that.
Do we know if this got like cinematic release anywhere?
I think it did in America. I think.
Really?
Yeah. That sleazy place just down the road from you.
Probably.
Oh yeah.
No, it has.
That's where I live.
It actually only premiered on DVD in the States and in the UK. It seemed to have had a major release in Malaysia, the Philippines, Israel, the United Arab Emirates, who just can't fucking get enough of Scott Adkins, Kuwait, South Korea, and China. So that was its sort of main markets by the looks of the stuff, information, and so on IMDb. And it was filmed in Bulgaria, which is kind of hilarious, which must mean that dojo at the beginning then, I guess, is CG or something, is it? I don't know.
Nah, they're just not updated it. Unless there's like a really good fucking dojo in Bulgaria.
Yeah, I mean, either that or they've just like, maybe that's where the 10 million went. They built one. I mean, it's only like a few wooden slats and a bit of paper, you know what I mean? They're not...
Maybe the Japanese have got a timeshare there.
2 weeks out of the year, they rented out the film crews.
But like for a $10 million picture in Bulgaria, I mean, $10 million goes a long way in Bulgaria. So you would expect this to almost be better than it is. You know
I expect it to be Scott Adkins of Arabia.
Right, exactly. And it's close. It's Scott Adkins on a shoddy New York backlot to Arabia.
Yeah, I mean, there's not loads to say about Ninja. Obviously we're going to carry on talking about it, but everything that they everything that they didn't do with Ninja, they totally rectified with the second one.
Yeah, but I mean, I think what's nice about Ninja from 2009 is that it has enough of that, like it wears its throwbackness on its sleeve. Like all the shit with, like I said, with like the corporate guys wearing robes and, you know, all the sort of mad backstory and twisty-turny stuff, all that stuff is like straight out of a early Jean-Claude Van Damme movie or like a mad Shokasugi movie or something. Like it definitely has its roots in those like 80s and 90s mad ninja movies. You know what I mean?
It's an American Ninja for the millennial folks.
Yeah, kind of. But I mean, even American Ninja has... No. I was just about to say even American Ninja has...
I was going to say, watch your words here.
some semblance of normalcy. It doesn't in any way at all.
No, it's got none.
It absolutely does not.
It's definitely a step up from the usual direct-to-video crap that you can get. Yeah. I'm looking at you, Seagal.
Yeah.
It's really good compared to a lot of the shit that's out there.
No, but
it's definitely a throwback flick.
No, but you look at stuff like...
It's hard to not look at Seagal, though, because he's kind of just like all over the place.
Right, he is the cause of 1 out of every 3 solar eclipses. It's really Seagal's butt.
That explains a lot.
But no, there's something about it. What am I trying to say? So if you look at the other straight-to-video stuff that's coming out, it's all, like you say, the Seagal and the Van Damme stuff, even the couple that...
Yeah, there's an ambition with Ninja, definitely.
There is, and there's an idea of sort of throwing it back, whereas a lot of the straight-to-video action stuff that was coming out at this time was... he is a lone assassin, he is a lone cop, he is a guy whose mother has been killed or puppy has been killed or something. Like, it's all that kind of stuff, like he is a border guard who has to go rogue in order to... It's all that kind of very standard stuff. And here's one where they're like, well, let's throw it back. Like you say, there's a little bit of American Ninja in there. There's a little bit of sort of...
Enter the Ninja.
Enter the Ninja, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, there's a little bit of Kasugi in here and a little bit of Dudikoff in here, and I think Atkins, like, I think he actually equips himself very, very well, not just with the action, but with the acting.
Now, if only they had a little bit of Ninja 3, the domination in there.
There's not enough drugs on the set.
No, and there's no point in which Scott Adkins or indeed the woman playing Namiko covers themselves in V5. That doesn't happen at any point.
My point is that should have happened.
It should have happened. There should have been a point where, for no apparent reason, there is a long montage of them covering themselves in a fruit and or vegetable-based drinking product. That would have been wonderful. But sadly, that doesn't happen here. That happens in the Ninja 3 that they're working on right now. Return of the... Is it V5 or V8? It's V5, isn't it?
The vegetable drink?
The vegetable drink is V5, right?
It's V8.
It's V8?
Yeah.
What the fuck, man? What's wrong with my head tonight? It's all these...
Who knows?
Yeah, fuck these people. But yeah, V8, whatever. Vegetable-based, whatever. Who cares? Everyone's seen it. Right, any more to say on Ninja 1, Doc? Do you have any, favorite scenes?
There's a subway fight in there that I remember really enjoying.
There is a subway fight that predates the Raid 2.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, if this was made by Cannon Films in the 1980s, Golan and Globus would have fucking creamed their pants and given this a major release.
Yeah, it's as good as any of those Golan Globus movies.
It's definitely better than American Ninja 3.
It's better than any of those Gobly Globes movies.
I think John needs to be rebooted.
Yeah. It's better than any of those movies. But no, it's a good. There's a couple of bits where you do kind of think like, when he's on the train, he's having difficulty with one single guy. Meanwhile, a couple of other people are trying to beat up his girlfriend. And then later in the movie, suddenly he takes on multiple people with ease. There is that thing in the movie where you're like, well, at one point, he's...
Maybe because he was taking multiple E's.
Oh, that might have been it. Also, it might be that in the final fight, he is finally dressed... as in the ceremonial and historical garb of a ninja.
Well, it does give you superpowers.
It gives you super ninja powers. But it does disappoint the ladies in the audience, who I believe do like a little bit of Scott Adkins. Hubba, hubba, hubba.
I do.
Nipples.
He does get his nipples out a lot in part 2.
Yes, he does.
There are a lot of shirtless scenes, I think, inspired by our boy Jason Statham.
Well, and that's why I watched 2, because I need shirtless men in my life.
Right. Exactly. But no,
you're missing working at that store, aren't you?
I'm missing my old job.
Definitely. We can go into a place just behind a curtain and vividly jack off if that would help. If that would help,
it twice.
I would willingly do that. Yeah, I did say before we started the podcast, if you need to vape or wank, please put the mics on mute.
I've muted both so far.
Yeah, muted. I've muted 3 times already. I'm a quick finisher. Slow to start, but quick to finish. Takes me a while to really get my mind in gear, but once it's in gear, I can do it 3 times right off the wrist in quick succession, and still have time.
It always takes me time just to balance the porn mag right.
Right, exactly. Yeah, right.
I usually need like 15 minutes and a sandwich between goes. But it's a little bit of a rest.
I need at least
maybe like half a Gatorade. I don't know.
Yeah, 15 minutes a sandwich between Golan and Globus. So let us move on
actually,
then.
Fun fact. That's what I say when I come. I go, oh, Golan Globus.
When I come, I just scream Golan because he's the dead one. I don't scream Globus.
I think that's one who I'm friends with on Facebook.
Well, you're not anymore because he's dead.
His page is still up.
Right, but he died
I think.
3 years
And he's
ago.
still actively updating.
Yeah. You're not dead until your page has been taken down.
Right.
See?
Is
Fact.
that the fact?
Apparently.
Okay.
Yeah, I read the terms and agreements to my Facebook, and they said your page is active until we determine you're dead.
Okay. So, moving on then.
Yeah, shadow of a tear.
Ninja 2. Ninja DOS. Ninja DOS, shadow of a tear. Ninja DOS, that's what came before Ninja Windows. Before that, it was Ninja Basic. So, that's one for the nerds listening. Oh, we talking about computer things. The sequel, Ninja Shadow of a Tear, which comes out 4 years later. Ninjutsu master Casey is back and out for revenge when his pregnant wife is murdered. Although the plot is much deeper, twistier, and turnier than that. Mo, as you actually watch this one, you lazy podcasting bastard, why don't you tell us what you thought about Ninja 2?
Ninja 2 is such a ridiculous and fun movie. I mean, it's one of those movies that, like, the second it starts, you know exactly what's going to happen. Like, they introduce the wife. Okay, well, she's going to die.
Right.
You know that's going to happen. They introduce the best friend character or whatever the hell is. Oh, well, he's going to be be the bad guy.
Yeah, they introduce the fact that she's pregnant, and they're like, we can't have that hanging around while he's got to go off and become an assassin.
Our main character's happy. No.
That's not happening.
Oh, she's dead. And then, like, my big problem with this movie is that it doesn't give you enough time. Now, there are some fantastic fight scenes in this movie, but it doesn't give you enough time to, like, really relish in it. Like that, like the first, like the major fake bad guy battle against, what was his fucking name?
Oh,
Goro.
The twisty, turny plot Goro, played by Shun Sugata.
Yeah, now, like, that fight could have been amazing, and it was just, I felt like it was so rushed, because they're like, oh, we got to get this in under 90 minutes, and we only got 15 minutes left. Just take his head off, you know?
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's cool and everything, and I guess technically it worked, but, I mean, like...
It's also not technically the final fight. Spoilers!
It's not the final fight, but that's how you knew, like, that's what would you say, the major drawback is how much you could predict everything that was going to happen. Not that I'm expecting any kind of, like, psychological thriller in one of these movies, but I mean,
I don't know that you could predict the twisty, turny, convoluted way that Nakabara, played by Ken Kusugi, tells Scott Adkins that Goro is after him. Like, there's such a twisty... There were three men, one of whom was your was your wife's father, one of them was my father, and one of them was this other guy, and they all went in the jungle, and they were all part of this ninja fighting force, and then one of them died, but he didn't really, and then he did, and then they went after this thing, and then he came out. Like, it was so... I had no idea, really, what was going on.
Yeah, honestly, that was one of my favorite, what I call Joe exposition moments.
Yes.
Where they basically just lay out the entire plot for you. That honestly is one of my favorite ones that I've seen in a while. The thing that's
so
really
stupid about the movie is that there is no need whatsoever for this, like, convoluted Pathé news exposition bit at the beginning either.
Right.
Like,
right.
Also, like, it does. It just, like, all Ken Kusugi needs to go is like, oh, this guy's after you because of drugs. And then he kills that guy and goes, no, not really, it was me. I was doing drugs. Like, that's really all it needs to be. Yeah, right? Like, it doesn't need to be anything else. Like, it doesn't really make any sense that he's like, oh, and he's trying to wipe out the daughter and everything else. Like, none of it. I think my main problem with Ninja 2 is that they attempt to have like a plot that all wraps up and have a twist and all that kind of stuff, which I completely appreciate, but they didn't really think it through. And essentially the movie becomes a series of very, very, very cool fight scenes that are not completely successfully strung together. Now, at least they don't have like the hooded, mad, crazy capitalists who are trying to achieve something but really not, and then it's all about this other thing. Like, it's not like the plot of the first one is fucking gold dust and this one isn't. It's like they're both convoluted as bollocks. But
imagine this though. Imagine if going into this movie, you know, instead of having all of that stupid shit with the guys who rob him, you know, which sets up one ridiculous foreshadowing scene for the end of the movie. But I mean, like, imagine not having that, having it actually have been Goro who killed his girlfriend, or make it seem like Goro was the one who killed his girlfriend. He goes and kills Goro at like the 25-minute mark, or like at the 35-minute mark, instead of it being at the hour 15. You know, and then it's him figuring out that it's actually his friend who had done it. You know, and then he has to like fight off the entire dojo before the final battle of him versus Kane Kane. Can't say the fucking last name right now. I mean, like, imagine how much better that would have been.
Globus.
yeah, exactly. Kane Ninja.
Kane, son of a ninja.
You know, like all they
son of a ninja, Kane.
One little twist, like one little shakeup of the entire plot, and yeah, it would have been, you know,
but do you really think
more of a stereotype? But
do you really
it would have
think
been more fun to watch.
The dojo would have been loyal to Kane once they found out that they were really being all used as anal drug mules?
Maybe not, but I mean, like.
It's worth finding out, isn't it?
It's worth finding out, yeah. Like,
Kane
you know.
Kasugi coming into the dojo showers at night. Right, I need to do something with your buttocks, and they're like, "Is this all above board, Sensei? This is all perfectly normal dojo stuff." And what they actually
you're the last question.
What they actually find out is that he's been shoving packets of heroin up their arsehole every night. They're like, and then they go out into town and they're like, they meet other friends from other dojos. They're like, "So does your sensei come round at night and like finger your butthole?" It's like, "No, dude. Why would you let him do that?" Like he said, it's a weird ninja thing. Like his father passed it down, but I don't know. His father never used to finger my butthole when he was alive.
And then you've got like then you've got the one ninja who really enjoys it.
Doc, did you just say when he does it, white piss comes out?
No, white dust comes out when he farts.
I thought you said, and when he does it, white piss.
No.
Which is...
Wow.
So anyway,
you're putting words in my mouth.
I want you put something else in your mouth in a minute. Drugs. I'll put drugs in his mouth. That was a wonderful image though of Kane Kasugi going down and prostate checking every single person in his dojo.
Yeah, to come to this dojo, I have to check your prostate.
I have to check every night.
Yeah, because I love you,
and heroin.
Yeah, and you know, prostate cancer is an awful disease. So
it is.
Bend over, cough.
Turn your head and cough. Oh, hello.
So, Doc, I know that Ninja 2 Shadow of a Tear is one of your favorite martial arts films. So why don't you tell us all about it?
We've already talked about the plot. It's the fight scenes are just so much fucking better than the first one.
So I can't compare them, but I can definitely say the fight scenes in 2 are really good.
And I think it's probably got more something to do with the Raid coming out a couple of years before, that they looked at that and just thought, well, this is what people want now. They don't want quick cuts. They just want long fight scenes and camera seeing everything that's going on.
Yeah, because
not too many.
That fight when he goes to the rival dojo is all
and
shot in one, and the bar is all shot in one continuous shot.
Yeah, it's so good to watch. It's classed as an American-made action film. I think we sort of said it was probably the best American action movie of that year because it was just so good compared to the other shit that you had to walk through and watch.
What's incredible is when the IMDb plot keywords really gives you an insight into humanity as a whole.
Because it's prostate exams, doesn't it?
Because out of this movie, these are the keywords, right? This is the first keyword, and one of one found these top 4 keywords relevant. So there's a torture, tied to a chair, muscular, bare-chested male bondage. They're the top 4, and they were the ones found most relevant. Ninja and martial arts and revenge and sequel and katana were all further down the list.
Yeah, fuck all those other ones, man. We need bare-chested man torture.
This is how I found this film, though.
I did a Google search for keywords, and bare-chested man torture was one of them. And
bare-chested male bondage.
Whatever.
Yeah. Someone was like, I'm looking for the film. What are you looking for? I would like bare-chested male bondage. And ninjas. If I could have those 2 things, please.
Sir, I've got just the right movie for you. It's right here. It's called Ninja 2, Shadow of a Tear.
Now wait, do I need to have seen the first one just to see the bare-chested male bondage?
No, sir. You don't need to see. You don't need to see the first one. The timelines are not continuous.
Although
it's
technically,
not the fucking Godfather.
It's not fucking Star Trek 2, Wrath of Khan. But yeah, it is technically continuous. But what's interesting about this one is the first one, as we said, filmed in Bulgaria. This one filmed in Bangkok, Thailand.
And the budget is 2.6 million now. And it's a far better movie.
Yeah, it's crazy that in that kind of 4... I feel like...
they didn't have to build a dojo this time.
Well, no, true. It was all just the same set, redecorated. But it was. Like the bar is the dojo, is the rival dojo, is the hotel, all those things. But no, I feel like, because when I spoke to Scott Adkins, like he was definitely bemoaning the budget situation of movies that he does now. With Jesse Johnson and people. And I think that there was probably that kind of 4 or 5 year period where the budgets of these straight-to-video things were probably cut in half. Because, or even lessened even than that, and I'm sure...
Quartered for that. I mean...
I don't know if The Raid was part of this, but, like, The Raid was made for just shy of $1 million. And obviously, like, wiped the floor with a whole...
fucking hold your head in shame, American action films.
Right? Like, we spent $300 million and 80% of it's a bit shit. We spent less than $1 million
and it's in front of a big green screen.
We do have Jeff Goldblum in it, being ironically Jeff Goldblum.
And Jeff Capes, the 2 Jeffs.
Doobly-doo, the 2 Jeffs. It's strongman Jeff Capes and funny gangly man actor Jeff Goldblum in...
I would watch that.
The 2 Jeffs.
You have no choice but to watch that.
I think it would be like mandatory viewing.
Oh, yeah. Christmas with the Jeffs.
Masturbatory viewing. No, I mean, I just think that there was something that happens in, like, the middle of the 2000s where people... and streaming, right? Streaming is the other thing. So I think at a certain point, like, streaming comes about, and they're like, well, Netflix isn't going to pick up a movie to make $10 million back, but they might pick up a whole range of movies for $10 million, and therefore if you can make one for anywhere between $1 and $3 million, we'll stick it in the package kind of thing.
It definitely looks like Scott Adkins is getting more exposure on Netflix, Savage Dog was on there straight away.
Yeah, and definitely when I spoke to him, although we see him doing more and more, and we see him, producing his own films now and starring in every film he does now, and so on and so forth. To him, he has not made it in the way that he wished he'd made it. You know what I mean? And thinks that the situation is pretty dire in terms of distribution and so on and so forth. Whereas from a viewer's point of view, like you say, we can go on Netflix, type in Scott Adkins, and find like 4 or 5 movies with him starring in it. And to us, that's making it,
Yeah, I mean, those days are gone, isn't it? I mean, fucking Ninja got a 10 million budget. I can't believe that.
Yeah.
But I mean, imagine how big of a star he'd be if he was around like in the heyday of action films, like in the 80s and into the 90s.
You'd have had Canon Films fighting over him,
right?
Because he can act as well as throw a fucking mean kick.
He doesn't do a bad American accent, actually, in these two movies.
That's the thing that surprised me the most. Is normally like his accents are not great, but he does a pretty decent American accent.
Well, you do.
Me? Yeah, I do a great American accent.
Because you're from Scotland originally, aren't you?
I do a fantastic American accent. My American accent is just
you fool them all, don't you?
amazing.
Oh my God, you're a regular Bob Hoskins.
Okay. Hi there. Are you okay? Can I have some Oreo cookies, please? You sound like you're from Randy. No, I'm from Texas.
See, now Doc actually, I think, does a good accent, but anyway.
I was vaping then when I didn't mute it. Sorry. Sorry about that.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's what I'm moving to America just so I can do the accent, just to see if I can blend in and do some undercover journalism.
Undercover blending, the Doc Paul Crowson story. It just means that in his bed, he likes to make up smoothies in a blender.
Oh, yeah, don't you?
It's Undercover Blending with Doc Paul Crowson, hosted by me, Sir John Gielgud.
His secret is that he uses frozen fruit.
Right. His secret is he uses X-Men
Scott Adkins
oranges.
is going, why is that twat getting a better budget for his show than I get for my movies? It's got John Gielgud on it.
Who's dead?
And he's dead.
But no, I mean, I do hope that Scott Adkins gets better known. I mean, Ninja 2 is up there for me with The Raid in terms of just its wall-to-wall action.
Yeah, I can't believe that an American action film could be that good. Not that good, because obviously American action films are really good. What I mean is, with the fight scenes, I haven't really seen anything like that American-wise.
Have you seen Savage Dog, by the way?
Yes.
I liked it. I thought it was good.
It's good. It's good. It's got a touch of Peckinpah about it, I felt, at the end.
Yeah, it's between Ninja and Ninja Shadow of a Tear. Like, it's somewhere in between the two in terms of quality.
And Boyka, the fourth Undisputed film, is fucking brilliant. Have you seen that yet?
I've seen that. Yeah, that one's fantastic.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I haven't seen any of the other ones. I only went right to the fourth one.
Oh, go watch number 3.
All right, I'll watch.
That's brilliant. That's really good. The first one you don't have to ever watch.
No, I never will.
No, why would you?
I think I watched about 20 minutes of the second one.
It's good for Atkins and Jai White. I mean, Atkins is great and it steals the show in it. But 3 and 4 are really, really good. But like you say, how big would he have been in the 80s?
It would have been huge.
Massive. It'd have been massive.
It would have been about 5'11" or whatever he is right now. But
no, I think he'd have grown an extra couple of inches. The 80s did that.
But
I think he would have gotten up to like 6'7".
Stallone is only 4'8". And, the fact that he was in 4 Rambo films elevated him to 5'2".
Yeah, it's true. It is true. It is true. That and some boot lifts.
I hear he used to strap milk cartons to his feet for those films.
But no, when
He wears 2 lots of Cuban heels.
when you think of the 80s and 90s in terms of like the action movies, there isn't. I mean, even in the Van Dammes and the Seagal movies, there isn't anything that comes close to kind of like the wall-to-wall action of something like The Raid and Ninja 2. Like
Nothing does, because you never actually really see them do anything. Because
Right.
it's always cut to shit. Anybody can look good doing that.
or slow-mo or whatever. But no, it's.
I mean, hell, they made Liam Neeson look like an action star. I mean, they can make anybody look like an action star.
Yeah, they made Forrest Whitaker look like he was an incompetent policeman who loved bagels. Which is incredible because we all know he's a fairly competent policeman who has a disinterest in bagels.
And he can't eat gluten.
Can't eat gluten. Fucking hates gluten. Makes his eye droopier than normal.
Goddamn celiac disease.
Yeah, he's got celiac of the eyelid, and therefore no gluten. But no, yeah, these bagels are still warm. Dun dun dun! The clinching case has been made against you because of warm bagels. If anyone hasn't seen
Forrest
Taken,
Whitaker doing his fucking Poirot shit.
if anyone hasn't seen Taken 3, don't. But no, when I like this, what am I trying to say? Like, there's action got so like accomplished. You know what I mean? Like at a certain point, you have to be like an Atkins or a Statham or someone or Iko Uwais or whatever to be able to kind of do this stuff. Or you
It's definitely got better this decade. This decade, they've really figured it out, except the guy who does the Bourne Ultimatum films. I mean, you train Matt Damon up for 6 months so he can do all this shit, only to have the camera flopping about all over the place so you can't see shit.
Yeah. Well, that's
Gareth
because he
Evans.
didn't really train for 6 months.
Well, at least a week.
He trained for a week, yeah. He trained for a week. They went, listen, can you flap this rolled up magazine around like really quickly and maybe go oof and ah like that?
Well,
and
that
then
was the first film, and that's the best one.
I'll just shake the camera around a lot. That'll work. No, I'm not knocking. Look, a lot of actors now do a lot of work to come close to this. And it's actually I think that's probably where the frustration comes from in the fact that a lot of actors now work very hard to be able to do what Scott Adkins can do just generally, right?
It's weird because really the people are going like up to Gareth Evans and Isaac Florentine going, oh my God, you can really shoot an action scene so well. What do you do? And they're just going, I just roll the fucking camera and keep it where it is.
Right, but I just have...
It's not rocket science.
I have people who can do it, though. It's like back in the day...
Yes, yeah, that is different as well, yeah.
It's like if you want to do a musical now, right, because they make so few musicals, you have to train all the actors how to do dancing and shit, right? Whereas back in the day, obviously, in the time of the big MGM musicals, you put in the people who could do the dancing. And yet what's weird is now... is that instead of putting in the people who can do the action or the martial arts or the whatever, they're now training actors to be martial artists, even if it's just for like 1 or 2 movies. I mean, even I just got a press release through the other day from some movie that's coming out, and fucking Orlando Bloom is going to be in a fucking martial arts movie. And I'm like, really?
Was he the narrator?
First of all, how does he still have a career, number one? And secondly, like, that role could have gone to literally anybody. Like, I could have done that role better than Orlando Bloom, hands down. And I don't even know martial arts. Well, I know I can name them, which is probably more than he could when he took the role. I can say Aikido and know what I mean.
You mean Steven Seagal?
It's the flappy hand one, right?
Yeah.
That's the flap. Yeah, that's definitely the flappy hand.
It's the one where you pay Russian boys to run at you. And
He's the cameraman on the...
with one
Steven
little...
Seagal's the cameraman on the Bourne films.
Yeah, right. But no, Aikido is the one where you pay small Russian boys to run at you, and you flip them over with one finger while wearing a giant tent and eating a cake. That's Aikido, right?
Yeah, that's...
I'm actually a black belt in Aikido. So, I just had my tent dried cleaned the other day. I got a competition coming up.
Yeah,
I just baked the cake.
Some cakes. Yeah. Yeah. Well, they don't tell you when you start that half of it is just learning how to bake a cake.
That really is. That
You
really
must
is. The
learn
hardest part.
cake baking.
To be proficient in Aikido, you've got to do two things. First of all, stand in the middle of a room and have tons of people run at you who are paid to do backflips when you waft your hand near them. And secondly, bake a cake. That's the two things.
You've got to make a mean Victoria sponge.
Aye. You've got to know how to make a Battenberg, which is particularly complicated because it's multiple colours, has jam in it, and is covered in marzipan.
Yeah, it's not putting jam into a donut. It's fucking serious.
A Battenberg is the highest of all the cake making abilities. Forget the martial arts. Bake a fucking Battenberg.
If you could eat that while flipping boys and wearing a tent.
Yeah. I just want to say, I want to go up to...
You are Grandmaster.
I want to go up to Gordon Ramsay and go, you ain't fucking shit till you bake a fucking Battenberg, you cunt. And then walk away. I'm sure he would be like, I'm sorry, did you want a signature?
What the fuck's going on? What's wrong with that cunt? I did a Battenberg this morning. What? I went to him off.
Anyway, any more to say on Ninja or Ninja 2 Shadow of a Tear? Any more to say on
It's
this?
fucking awesome.
They're fucking awesome. Go watch them. I feel like this podcast has really told people everything they need to know about it. Mo,
Specifically in pronunciation.
Mo,
Ninja. Yeah.
Ninja. Mo, give us top 3 fight scenes from Ninja 2. Go.
Bar scene. This is in no particular order.
Okay.
Bar scene, definitely. I really enjoyed the first dojo fight scene. It's only 5 or 6 guys and it happens so quick, but I love the fact that it's no effort whatsoever in taking all of these guys out. And I'm going to say the final fight scene with Kane.
Doc?
Same. That last fight with Ken Kasugi is great.
It really is
really good. It's like bringing through the new boys, the new kids on the block, if you will. That's really good.
And is there any fight scene in Ninja, the first one, that beats Ninja 2, or is either comparable or better?
No.
Okay.
No. Ninja 2's on a whole new level.
Ninja, you've heard it here first. Ninja 2 is on a whole new level.
Ninja 2!
Well, wonderful.
It could go in a great double wheel with the raid.
It could.
That's how good it is. With the fight scenes. With the fight scenes. I like the comical Indian cab driver. He was my favorite character.
I loved him.
He was fantastic.
Do you think Deadpool stole that?
Probably.
It did, didn't it? Yeah.
Every single action star needs to have his comical sidekick, and I liked him. And I thought for a minute there, I was like, "Oh, it's a little bit racist," and that made me happier. And I'm going to end by reading this out, which is by a Marion Smith 1234. Because there's apparently 1,233 other Marion Smiths from London, England. But here we go. Marion Smith 1234 says, I will start by saying, I have never reviewed a movie on IMDb before, but felt compelled to do so. Scott Adkins is the new Van Damme. I can't say much for the plot storyline. However, the acting was fine and the action was beautifully choreographed. It looked so real. The action more than makes up for this lack of depth within the story itself. Scott, for me, carries the film, but he does it so well. I hope Hollywood pays attention to this guy, as he's extremely talented. As crazy as it sounds, being that this was a direct-to-TV movie, I was thoroughly engaged and entertained throughout the whole film. It's fast-paced, almost from the get-go, and action-packed. I hope to see Scott in some big-budget blockbusters next year and beyond. And that was Marion Smith, which is your pseudonym, right?
It's mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, Doc, yeah.
It's both ours.
Yeah, and
Yeah, we share it.
she's been an IMDb member
I
for
wanted to put
3
the
years
end.
and 10 months.
Yes, I'd very much like to have sex with him. No.
Mo said, no, we're not doing any of that. I would very much like to wax his chest with my pee-pee. Right, and with that,
Wow.
gentlemen and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on this completely nonsensical and yet perfect embodiment of NinjaVember. NinjaVember. Thank you so much for being on this inaugural episode of NinjaVember, and we will be back next time with more ninjas. Say goodbye, gentlemen.
Goodbye, gentlemen.
Bye-bye.
Ninja, deadly ninja. Yeah, ninja rocking out now. Ninja, 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 ninja. Almighty Ninja.